Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a wonderful Monday so far. I got a good one for you today. Jagmeets is commenting on the defeat of his GST tax motion. So, if you don't know what this was, he put a motion through to extend that $250 check to old age pensioners and to people with disabilities. And the NDP were the only party to vote yes on it. So, with no further ado, let's get into it.
Oh, yeah. So nearly every other party in the chamber right now voted against giving the working class a permanent tax cut. It's ludicrous. In addition, they also voted against a senior getting that check. They voted against people living with disabilities getting that check. They voted against a single mom taking care of her kids that had to make sacrifices, not getting a check. That's what they voted for. They voted for them not getting a check. I think it's clear that Canadians need someone who's going to fight for them, who's going to fight for tax cuts for the working class, not for billionaires. That's why I'm running for Prime Minister, because it's clear the Conservatives are bootlickers for billionaires. If there's a tax cut that doesn't help billionaires, they're not in it. And the Liberals continue to let people down. We think that tax cuts should be permanent for the working class. They want it to be temporary. We think that seniors and people living with disabilities should be able to get that check. The Liberals don't agree. I'm going to keep on fighting to make sure we get relief to people now. We want that relief to be permanent, and we want people that need it most to get the checks. I'll do that in French, and then you can ask any questions you like.
It's just a shame you don't have, an agreement with the Liberals. You could ask them to put this $250 check through and force them to vote yes, or else you'd vote a vote of no confidence. Oh, wait, you did have one. And, right, you ripped that up. So, unfortunately, your party has no power anymore to really force Liberals to do anything. And you keep saying that you don't like the Liberals, that the Liberals are the worst, blah, 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 blah. But you keep voting to keep them in power. You're not really running for Prime Minister. You're just running for your pension, Jagmeet. And yes, I do agree that we should have permanent less taxes for the middle class. And do you know the biggest tax for the middle class right now is the carbon tax, which you're all for. So voting you in is not going to help with that.
Do you have any flexibility on the checks? Would you be open to something where it covered seniors on GIS, for example, or something like that?
We want to see the checks improved. How that's done, we'll leave it to the Liberals. They're in government. They're the ones that have got to do it. We want it, though, improved. It's clear right now that some of the people who are most vulnerable are left out. That is wrong. My message to Justin Trudeau is, it is wrong that someone earning $140,000 is going to get a check, but a senior who's worked their entire life, raised their kids, and now is cutting back on groceries because their pension is not going far enough, that person doesn't deserve the check. It doesn't make any sense. So I want to see it improved. How that's done, we're open, we're very flexible, but it has to be improved. Seniors have to get it. People living with disabilities have to get it. A mom trying to take care of her kid should get it.
What do you say, though, to there's 18 million people who would get these checks under the Liberals' plan if it can pass the House of Commons? What do you say to those 18 million people?
Well, they deserve a break, but we also need to make sure that some of the most vulnerable people in our country get that break as well. And so we're going to keep on fighting to make sure we get that break to as many people as possible, but particularly the people who need it most. We've heard from people, I've spoken with people, they tell me all the time, they say, yeah, it makes sense that a senior should get it. Someone earning $140,000 gets a check, but not a senior. Doesn't add up.
Have you spoken to the Prime Minister directly?
But this is what the NDP doesn't get, is if we implement checks to every single person in Canada, that will inflate our currency and it will increase our deficit. That's the issue here. That's exactly why the Conservatives aren't voting for this motion, is because they know that it's just going to inflate our debt and we can't pay for it. And that's why the Liberals won't vote for it, because they know that they screwed up our balance sheet so much we don't have the money. Now the NDP can go on and on and on and on about this because they don't have to care about balance sheets. They don't have to care about this stuff. They can be utopians. It's nearly impossible to give people extra checks without there being a consequence to that later down the line. And we saw this over COVID when we just gave money to people. It inflated our budget and created inflation. And the NDP wants us to go through all that again.
About this matter?
No. But we've raised the issue and made it very clear publicly. I've said it again and again. I asked a question today in question period on this. We've made it clear. If you want those checks out the door, they have to include seniors and people living with disabilities. It has to include families that need it most. And that's now, the Liberals know exactly where we stand.
On Syria, the Canadian government, should they delist the HCS as a terrorist organization?
First of all, what's going on in Syria, there's been a lot of pain, there's been a lot of upheaval, but the most recent news, I think, is a little bit of hope for folks to see the Assad regime no longer now in power, being kicked out of the country. I think for a lot of people, that was a moment of a little bit of relief. There is still a lot going on in the region. And so I think we have to be very careful about what our next steps are. We'll review that specific matter and make our determination in terms of where Canada should go.
And what about asylum claims for Syrians? Should the Canadian government keep accepting them? We're seeing Germany, Austria, France stopping that already.
Again, I think this is another question that we need to reflect a bit on. This has just happened. There's still a lot of instability in the region, so I think we've got to take a close look and then make a determination that's in the best interest for our country and to do our part as global citizens.
Sur les chèques, ça fait des...
The PBO is estimating that it'll cost $1.5 billion for the temporary GST holiday. How would you propose to pay for a permanent one, which would obviously be more expensive for the government?
Yeah, we've said that we believe in being very prudent with the way we make our decisions. So we said the working class deserves a tax break, and the way we would pay for it is with an excess profit tax. This is something that other countries have put in place to great effect. United Kingdom, Germany, Spain have all put in place some form of excess profit tax, which has been a great revenue generator. The PBO has also looked at that measure here in Canada. We would pay for it by putting in place a measure that would say, for the most profitable, largest corporations contributing a bit more, we could give the working class a break. I'm sick and tired of CEOs and billionaires getting tax break after tax break. I'm sick and tired of conservatives who continue to bootlick for billionaires but say no to the working class. I want to say let's give the working class a break, and let's make those that are making the most profits and are the biggest corporations contribute more so we can make that happen.
Excess profit tax, I don't agree with whatsoever, because people who get a second job or who get a third job or who work extra hard to get more money, it'll just tax them more. Now, and see how well that's going for the UK, Spain, and France right now. I don't mean to be rude to those countries right there, but are in the middle class really doing that well in those countries? Is everything hunky-dory? It seems like the rich are doing really, really well, but the middle class is not. In the UK, you got like people renting out cupboards for the equivalent to $500 Canadian. And in France, Paris has so much power because that's where all the money is and all of the rich people are. Spain, I'm not quite sure about Spain, but as you can see, if these countries have that tax on it, it's not working. It's not working for the middle class in those countries.
Saying that you weren't in the chamber during the recorded vote for their non-confidence motion that quotes you quite extensively. Was there a reason you weren't in the chamber for that particular vote?
I had a meeting and I voted outside of the chambers, and I came in for the vote on our motion. Listen, the Conservatives, it should come as no surprise that we're not going to vote in favor of any of their games, because that's what they're doing. They're playing games. What they want to do is cut your pensions. They want to cut your health care. I want to strengthen pensions. I want to make it easier for you to find a doctor. They want to cut the things that you need and make your life even harder and make it cost more. That is what conservatives do. That is what they did when they were in power. We're opposed to that. So obviously we're not going to play their games. I'm not going to support a conservative motion that plays games like that. We're going to keep on fighting for Canadians.
Okay, just a quick, if you haven't heard my videos before, I mean, the conservatives have never said anything about cutting pensions or cutting any of those. They only want to cut taxes. That's all what conservatives want to do. And Jagmeets said something about the NDP want people to find doctors. How is your excess profit tax going to keep doctors? Doctors would head for the United States if you ever put that in.
Are you able to say whose Maserati you got into the other day?
It's definitely not mine, not any of my family. And it was a pleasure seeing you all today. Take care. Thank you.
Can you just clarify? Is it a staff member?
Oh, I just got into a stranger's Maserati. I mean, after all the political danger we're going through in our country, you know, there was just this random Maserati here, and I thought he'd get into it. I'm pretty sure that's his. He just can't say that's his because nobody gets into another person's car just randomly. Either he owns it or he's friends with another person who owns it who's driving him around. So anyways, that's my little bit of rant there. But what do you think? What do you think about the whole Maserati thing? Do you think it's just kind of a distraction we don't need? Is it not? Also, what do you think about the excess profit tax? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, let me know in the comments down below how you think that excess profit tax actually affected the UK, Spain, and France. Because I'm kind of interested in what happened there. So what do you guys think? And if you like this stuff, please like and subscribe. I want to thank everybody who has subscribed to the channel, and because it's awesome to see it exploding. And once we hit 500 subscribers, I'll be doing a live stream probably at the end of the day. And once we hit 500 subscribers on Fridays, I'll try to get live streams of question period going. So that's all I got for you. Have a great day.